We came so far from dreams. The path was hard for me. They thought we fall, you see. Well, look at us now, look at us now. We make it hot when we on the scene. Yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team. Yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around. You know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we. Tell me who better than we. We soaring to places you never could reach. When we walk in that spot, don't hear none of you speak. Shh, do you want peace or the peace? A king about to put you to sleep. Listen, my team is elite. You not even qualified to compete. He starving, he barely can eat. I guess that's why he always itching for beef. So I put him on ice and I told him to chill. Close your mouth if you can't pay for the meal. Making statements that you know you don't mean. Nice guy trying to act like he mean. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean. Attitudes will put you dudes in the beam. Isekai, he don't live in reality. Shake back, all become a fatality. Yeah, how you gon' hate when you mirror us? He think he a star, he ain't serious. X him out, we not on the same frequency. If you broke, you ain't hearing us. Work the screw, anime, that's how I feel, period. We winning, that's making them furious. We make it high when we on the scene, yeah, that's 1,000 degrees. I got a grind for me and my team, yeah, you know we gon' eat. You see the crowds when we come around, you know that I roll with some kings. We sit it down, I don't hear a sound, but I ask you who better than we.
Yo, what it do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you with another new part of What If Izuku Was Kazuma Kiryu's son. This is part 2, and thanks a lot for the support for this series, guys. I really do appreciate it a lot. I can tell this isn't going to be it's going to be one of my somewhat in the middle popular series. Not as popular, but at least gets enough views and numbers that need it. So again, I really do appreciate it, everyone. Really means a lot. So let's go with that of a quick recap. In the last part, we went over on that of Izuku for the past 2 years without that of his father, how Izuku and Inko are getting by now, still living in that of Masafu, as Izuku goes to Aldera Junior High and is still that of a hero nerd who analyzes quirks and heroes as well. However, this Izuku is a lot more different than he would have in canon. Due to the years of support and people basically cheering him on to being a hero, he now has a determination on trying to be a hero no matter what. Not to mention, with the years of being trained by that of his father's closest friends and being looked after by them too, he's now strong. He now has that of fighting experience as well. Not to mention, he's gained that of a delinquent mentality as well, causing people to fear him mainly because of his attitude and also because of his heat. As everything plays out as it would have in that of episode 1, where he gets involved with that of the sledge villain, he meets All Might. Same time, he finds out about that of his, powered down state being Small Might, as All Might tells him that it's impossible to be a hero without a quirk. However, Izuku does not let him deter him, as he's seen a quirkless hero, his father. Not to mention, he even shows it even more with that of his determination and will to save Bakugo while the heroes do nothing. At the same time, All Might, just as he would have in canon, regrets what he says and decides to say the words that he needed to hear, that he can become a hero. With now the words of his 2 idols keeping him going, he's now more determined than ever to be the hero he's always dreamt of. And with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? A few months later, Izuku alongside All Might find themselves at that of Dagobah Beach, where Izuku has to be training himself to handle that of a quirk. A certain quirk that All Might plans on giving Izuku, that being One for All, a quirk that can be transferred to one person to another as it becomes stronger, as one person cultivates it and passes it to the other, causing it to become even more stronger than before. All Might is the 8th user, and Izuku will be the 9th. But to do that and gain the quirk, he has to gain that of more body weight and mass after all. to have a stronger and more durable body that can handle that of the, well, strain of One for All. And let's just say, due to the years of him being trained by that of many of the best fighters in all of Kamurocho and Japan, and also trained by the Dragon of Dojima himself, that is his father, Izuku doesn't have much trouble with cleaning the beach on the first few months after all. However, it's after the few months goes on while training that something begins to happen. Currently, and on his way to that of to school, he sees that of a rally of many people wearing that of white shirts, having that of picket fences, and on that of a promotional van where a speaker is on top of it speaking, "We need to clean this. We need to clean Japan once and for all. Not only that we deal with that of villains on a daily, we have to deal with that of the scum of the earth, those with that of illegal intentions in our country, those who have come to our country through that of illegal means, businesses that have done nothing but basically corrupt that of our youth. And people wonder, even with that of the efforts of All Might, our symbol of peace, our youth are the victims of this corruption. We must bleach Japan." Within, everybody begins to cheer, "Bleach Japan, bleach Japan." With Izuku couldn't help but roll his eyes, thinking, "Bleach Japan? Alright, that movement that's been basically going all around Japan for a while, for at least the past couple years. I think they basically just became more prevalent this year, actually. They've been around since 2 years ago. But then Izuku began to remember they became more prevalent. They started popping up right after the death of his dad. Then thinking, oh yeah, that reminds me. Next month is basically summer break. I need to ask All Might if I can take at least 1 week off. As during his time while being away from that of Morning Glory, him and Inko always go back to Morning Glory during that of his week, during his, month, during the summer after all. Seeing everyone back there, seeing his big sister, Haruka, and everybody, Yuta, and even his little nephew, Haruto. As the kid is already 3 by now, as he couldn't help but smirk and laugh while heading to that of the school. That's when he accidentally bumps into somebody wearing a Bleach Japan t-shirt. But then saying, "Oh, sorry about that." But then the guy couldn't help but say, "Yeah, you better watch where you're going, young man, you damn delinquent." But then Izuku couldn't help but scoff, saying, "I said I was sorry." As he walks off, but then one of them look at that of Izuku saying, "Hey, kid, are you some kind of Yakuza?" But then Izuku basically eyes open saying, "Where the hell did you get that from? I'm not a Yakuza. I'm 14. Why would I join?" Then saying, "Kids like you think you could do whatever the hell you want. I mean, look at you. You're basically just screaming you're a delinquent." Saying, "How? The Yakuza doesn't even bring in kids that around that age." Within, saying, "How do you know that? Normally only Yakuza would know that." Saying, Within, Izuku seeing that he's starting to draw a crowd, within saying, "Screw this," as he channels his heat through his body. Before then, at that of blinding speeds, at least that of faster than that of the normal naked eye unless a trained pro, he blitzes past them and heads straight for that of his school. With then saying, "He's using his quirk to escape! Call the pros! Call the police!" But then, Izuku thinking, seriously, these guys are gone insane. While at school, and basically on the top of the roof, while basically taking that of another smoke break, he soon basically looks at his phone, looking up things about that of Bleach Japan, as saying that they have gained the support and that of quite a bit of members, not just ranging from that of the common people, plenty of supporting politicians from that of the diet, but also seeing that multiple pro heroes have actually joined, especially 4 pro heroes that are supportive of Bleach Japan's ideology and methods. 4 top 10 pros, mainly that of Gang Orca, Yorimusha, Wash, and even that of best genus. With the support of basically the number 10, the number 9, the number 9, the number 8, and the number 4 best pro heroes, of course that this would get a lot of traction and support now. Seriously. And yet, people like that, they didn't even seem like that of protesters or basically supporters. Hell, they almost look like that of a freaking mob or cult. While still looking over his phone, he soon realizes something that's completely and utterly shocks him completely to the point that he drops his cigarette before then saying, "What the hell?" The Bleach Japan's methods is basically to rout out all Yakuza clans, families, and anything owned by that of the Yakuza. Mainly, the Tojo clan. What? Why? The Tojo have always helped out. Sure that there were some moments where they, go beyond what they normally should be, but Uncle Daigo has always been honorable, especially for the past couple of years. To honor Dad's death. Why would they? Still looking over, they couldn't give out any too much information in detail online. However, there was some speculation saying that there are some Tojo members who basically defected from that of the Tojo clan and sided with that of the police to honor and basically show that they are wanting to be respected citizens of society after all, possibly lighten their sentences in prison. But then going to a certain forum website that he always goes to for that of Yakuza related incidents, and also a certain business that's also located in Kamurocho of a private detective and his connection to that of the Tojo clan as well. Looking over the forums within saying it's possible that a lower ranking member of the Tojo clan, Masui Arakawa, head of the Arakawa family, defected to the Oni Alliance. What? That's impossible. The Arakawa family's been one of the most loyal to the Tojo. I remember Uncle Daigo and Uncle Manjima saying that they were. Always saying no matter how bad things get, they'll always buy that of the Tojo clan side. This makes no sense. What's going on? Looking back at that of Bleach Japan, seeing that of its following members, that one of the members is known as Ryooki, who soon became the governor of that of Tokyo. He's mainly in that of the Yokohama City District though. The current director of Bleach Japan now is a man by the name of Ogasawara. They still mainly operate in that of Yokohama, Shinjuku, Shibuya, and currently are now moving into that of Masafu and Kamurocho as well. This can't be happening. Why? Why now? After all this time, after finally getting everything in check and order, why now? Damn it! But then Izuku basically punching the rooftop fence, creating that of a pretty dense crater into it, mainly due to that of his training and also because of his heat as well. But then he couldn't help but grip onto the fence with that of his left hand, but then thinking, damn it, maybe I can contact that of the others about this. Maybe they know about what's going on. Doubt Uncle Akiyama knows what's going on. I mean, the guy has been out of Kamurocho for at least a good while now, trying to branch out Sky finances outside of Kamurocho into other cities. I think he's starting to get one in Yokohama, but given what's going on in Bleach Japan, doubtful that that's going to go anywhere anytime soon. Maybe I can ask Uncle Tanimura? No, I honestly think that the guy is focusing way too much on other cases. Plus, Bleach Japan is affecting that of immigrant businesses and people too. Believing that many people in the police force and possibly the heroes would force him off the case if they're doing anything illegal, due to him having too much connection to immigrants in that of Japan, mainly in Kamurocho. Maybe Uncle Makoto and maybe Uncle Sajima and Uncle Manjima and Daigo could help me out too. I'll probably contact them after I'm done with classes. Still, whatever the hell is going on, why haven't they told us about this? With Izuku putting his phone away and seeing that lunch is about to end, decided to head back to the classroom. As the day comes to an end, With Izuku heading back home, he hasn't dealt with any problems in a while. Ever since that of the Sledgeville incident several months ago, Bakugo is basically laid off on that of Izuku, possibly in his own stupid kind of way, saying, I don't bug you for the rest of the year, you don't get in my way, then we're even. Seriously. Same thing also goes with all the other bullies, all the other dumbasses that try to think they can bully him at the school. Since Bakugo sees himself as the king, of course they're not going to bug him. As for the teachers, on the other hand, still basically always constantly on his ass. Speaking of teachers, within the homeroom as Izuku was about to leave the homeroom class, the homeroom teacher saying, Midoriya, before you can go, could you go to the principal's office? The principal wishes to speak with you. Within hearing that, a few of the students get up and say, wait, Midoriya's getting in trouble? Oh, thank God. Maybe they're finally kicking out the quirkless delinquent, saying, oh, I really hope so. I am terrified of that guy. Within, Izuku saying, can I ask why? Because I have somewhere to go to. Say, I didn't ask. And besides, you should be listening to that of your teacher, saying, yeah, sure, whatever. With that, he grabs his bag and heads out of the principal's office. On the way there, he soon thinks to himself, I still got training to do. Not to mention, I still gotta contact All Might and ask him in person if I can have 1 week off of my training to head to Okinawa. Within sighing, saying, let's just get this over with so I can get out of here. However, while Izuku's heading to the classroom, soon a certain figure heads into that of Aldera Junior High, saying, so, this is where Izu-chan's been going. Not gonna lie, the school could already feel like it's a goddamn dump. As all of the students basically walk past the man, as many of them couldn't help but whisper who the heck he is. He looks pretty scary. Some girls can help but say he looks he looks kind of handsome for a man his age. While basically walking in, he soon passes Bakugo, as then, for just a split second, Bakugo could almost feel something basically shift down his spine. Something completely and utterly different. A sense of dread, like a demon or an Oni looking down on him. With then, looking back at the man, he couldn't help but basically huff and sweat, saying, what the hell was that? As a teacher, with that of a track uniform and also that of a buzz cut hairstyle, looks at that of the man saying, can I help you, sir? Classes have already ended, saying, yeah, I'm here to see a student after all. His name is Izuku Midoriya. If you must be wondering, Midoriya's speaking with the principal. If you want to wait for him, go ahead, saying, sure, I'll wait, but I think I'll wait outside. Say, sir, But then, grabbing the guy's hand and basically snaps it. But then, the large man with that at the gym uniform couldn't help but be completely and utterly shocked and basically screaming in that of pure and utter pain. What they'd say? So, I'll realign it later. Just give me some time. But then, heading into the school with many students basically utterly terrified on what the hell they just saw. As a guy that looks almost pretty damn scrawny, by looking a better look at the guy, he has that of tight jeans, that of a wild checkered shirt that looks like that of a snake. That as he's basically completely shirtless under it, and also having that of a mustache and goatee, with that of short bob cut hair that goes to the top of his ears. But what really stands out the most is his eye patch on his left eye. Within, in that of the principal's office room, saying, I can't believe that you would cause a struggle with that of members of Bleach Japan. Saying, are you serious, sir? I wasn't trying to cause any trouble. Saying, not cause any trouble. Bleach Japan is one of the supporters of the school here. Their charity has done so much for us. And in you causing trouble for them, not only you being quirkless, but a delinquent. And did they say I was using a quirk by any chance? Within, saying, yeah, you do know I'm quirkless, right? within saying, that's not the problem here. The problem is that you have caused too much problem, and if you cause any more, I will have no choice but to expel. Before then, the door basically kicks in, within basically swing into that of the room, that of a huge amount of swagger, is Goro Manjima himself, in all of his glory, saying, Izu-chan, I hear that you got yourself in trouble. What's this all about, kiddo? Within, hearing that voice saying, Uncle Manjima? Within, saying, oh, you got in trouble with that of those weirdos from Bleach Japan? Oh, tis, that is not gonna do. Within, soon, grabbing Izuku by that of his school uniform, as currently wearing that of the summer uniform, with just basically being that of a white button-up shirt. Within, saying, sir, as his uncle, I'll properly discipline him as necessary. It's only natural that of a parental figure, such as myself, do such. Am I right? Within, the principal, with that of looking pure shock, saying, yes, I guess that's true. Please sort him out while you can, especially knowing that his mother will not. Within, saying that, you could see that of a demonic gleam coming from that of Manjima, saying, sure, but she's a kind, caring, and woman that's been through enough. I think it's only natural that she has to be sweet on that of her son. Don't you agree? And if anybody disrespects her, within and out of blinding speed, a knife basically went flying past that of the principal's face. As it didn't cut him, however, it did basically pierce and cut in half that of a certain plaque behind his desk in two with just one stab. But then, soon, the principal basically sweating bullets and that of pure and utter fear, seeing that of the dark Oni behind that of Manjima, saying, we're gonna have a little bit of a problem here. But then the principal saying, yes, Manjima, Mr. Manjima, at your service. But then saying, now Izu-chan, let's get going. With that, he soon pushes Izuku out of the door, then saying, sorry about the door. I'll pay for it later on. Promise. With that, he soon walks off. After that, the principal saying, what just happened? As you can hear that of a, gushing sound from that of the principal's room, leaving that of the school, before then seeing that of the gym teacher, with then saying, oh, right, hang on, before then going to that of the gym teacher's hand, and snapping it back in place, as he soon screams in that of agony, saying, there, better, but that will probably swell and sprain for a while now, so you better go and get that checked out. Patting the man on the back, before then, Izuku saying, Uncle Manjima, you're causing way too much of a scene as always. With then saying, hey, it's only natural. Also, can I ask why did you come to pick me up? Saying, right. Your mother's saying that you've been training a lot and working out more than you usually do. So I had to ask, you working hard to become a hero like you promised? But then, Izuku couldn't help but smile, saying, yeah, I am. So I'm guessing Mom was worried, so don't worry. I'm not here to straighten you out or anything else like that. Promise. Just wanted to make sure that you're doing okay. But given that I came at the right time, seems like you've been having trouble with that of Bleach Japan, seems. Within, Izuku hearing this, he could help but say, yeah, actually, I just ran into them when I was on my way to school, to be honest. When I basically was around them, they didn't seem like that of a, diet group or that's trying to build on on trying to help Japan in their own way. It felt like, I don't know, like a freaking mad mob of cultists. Something similar to that of those creature rejection clan members, to be honest. But then, hearing this, saying, yeah, I get it now. Totally understandable. Did you know I had to deal with a cult myself back in the day? With then Izuku saying, yeah, you told me that. With then Majima saying, totally, bunch of weirdos, I won't lie. But I was able to get out of that pretty easily. But if you feel like these guys are cultists, then maybe they're a problem. But then Izuku saying, speaking of, I hear that they've been cracking down on the Tojo clan, especially heroes that are involved with them too. But then, hearing that, Majima stopped in place saying, so, I already figured that out. Bro and I, and even that of the six and the chairman have been trying to keep that away from you, and especially from Inko-chan too. But why? Why do this now? The Tojo have always helped out and always done good for that of the community of Kamurocho. Sure that there were some bad eggs here and there, like Uncle Nishiki, but still, there's some good people. It's you and Uncle Saejima. You all are doing what you can to help out, so why? But then, let's just say things are a little bit more complicated than you think, Izu-chan. But the Tojo isn't your problem, it's ours. And just as always, we'll make it through and get through this pretty easily. So you got nothing to worry about. But then after saying that, patting him on that of the head, basically messing up his already messy fluffy hair even more. But then, Uncle, but then saying, come on, you don't want to worry your mom even more than you already have. But then Izuku saying, man, you guys are really trying to dodge the question here. After that, Izuku heads straight for that of Dagobah Beach, already getting closer and closer of getting the beach taken care of. However, even so, he's still kind of distracted though, as he's not as focused as he usually is, mainly because he's still thinking about how are the Tojo clan are able to make it through this, and wonder what's going on. All Might seeing this, as he thinks, you're not all in there, young Midoriya. Are you okay? Within hearing this, Izuku saying, sorry, All Might. Just thinking, that's all. Within saying, what's on your mind, my boy? You're already getting closer and closer to that of your ideal look on what you need to do to handle One for All. But still, is there something on your mind I'm here to open up to if you feel like it? Even though you just became my successor and my protege, I'm still here whenever you need me. But then, Izuku hearing this, saying, well, I have several things I want to ask you. The first is kind of the most important, but the second one can be answered if you can't, given that you are the number one hero though. So I figured there are some things you can't even tell me. But then, hearing this, he sees that of the worriness for that of the first one, and especially the second one, saying, young Midoriya, as he goes down to one knee, saying, come on, it's okay, tell me what you need. With that, Izuku sighs before then saying, next month, I would want if you could, allow me to at least 1 week off from cleaning the beach during the summer. Then, hearing this saying, whoa, that's quite out of the blue for you, young man. Can I ask why, by any chance? But then, he's saying, I know it's important that I train my body and work out as much as I can to gain that of One for All. I know how important this is, but there's something else that's just as important. Within saying, can I ask why this is more important than training? It's during the summer, I basically go back to where I normally used to live and born at. I'm not originally here from Masafu. I live in Okinawa, actually. I'm Okinawan. Within hearing that, within realizing, actually, that makes quite a sense, young man. That makes quite a sense, young Midoriya. Your dialogue and manner of speeches are pretty similar to those from Okinawa, I will not lie. Within hearing this, saying, exactly. There's an orphanage that my dad used to run, given that he used to be an orphan himself back in the day. Within hearing that, All Might saying, I see. It's called Morning Glory, And I always go there to spend time with my other family, my real family too, me and my mom. Not to mention, we always go there to visit my dad's grave too. I always stay there throughout the entirety of the month of my vacation just so I can spend time with my family and look after all the other kids of Morning Glory too. Given that we get in quite a bit of kids, especially kids who lost their parents through that of villain attacks. So I always want to try and do my part while I can. With that, All Might couldn't help but basically smile at this, within saying, "Young Midoriya, I understand your reasoning and motivation, especially your duty to your family and parents. When you told me that your real last name is not Midoriya, but Kiryu, when I heard that name, it reminded me so much of a man I've heard so much about, but never got to meet myself. Kazuma Kiryu, or as he's mainly known by, to those in that of the pro heroes, the police, and even the underworld, I hear he's known as the Dragon of Dojima. On the surface, to a lot of people, he is a criminal, a vigilante, and a villain, especially given that he was a former Yakuza. But the way you speak of him, but the way that other people spoke of him, especially those who knew him and those who actually interacted with him, speak of him as a true hero, a hero of the shadows. Somebody even said that he even rivals me in that of how much he keeps them safe. Well then, Izuku saying, you respect my dad that much? Saying, I respect his actions and his motives, but I can't condone them either, especially on what he used to be. I know this society is not as black and white as people think it is, young Midoriya. I'm aware. I've lived in that black and whiteness shadows, especially when your dad is a former Yakuza, and especially the former chairman of the Tojo clan. Within, All Might couldn't help but stand up from that of the sand saying, but if you need this time, I will give you at least a week. A week to basically have some time, go to see your other family, and also see your dad. You deserve that at least, young man. But I expect you to work even harder than you have before. As Izuku says this, saying, yes, sir. Now young Midoriya, tell me, what else did you want to speak of? Within, Izuku saying, oh, right. But again, you don't have to answer this if you don't feel like it, or if it's too confidentiality. Can you tell me about that of Bleach Japan? Within, soon, All Might saying, that. Normally, I prefer not to get into that of politics or into anything that involves that of fully government, consent after all. Even though pro heroes are basically civil servants on the surface and on paper as well, we don't have that much sway over that of, policies and political intrigue unless we're top 10 pro such as myself. But I never actually used my position as the number one hero to do that of changes like this, just so I can basically be a symbol so people can feel safe and the villains feel fear. But now that you're bringing this up, why? Within, Izuku saying, it's because Bleach Japan has been causing quite a bit of an uproar and other things that I've noticed, to be honest. Within saying, so how? Within, Izuku began to explain what he's heard on that of Bleach Japan, that on the surface they seem like they're good people trying to basically block out that of gray areas and illegal stuff, especially trying to root out that of villainy as well. However, if you see it from another point of view, they're basically forcing and abusing that of their power, especially on that of the innocent who basically wanted to make a life here in Japan, but are unable to due to that of the government or the laws, forcing them to force themselves in the underbelly. But then, hearing that, All Might realize that Izuku is right. He can look into this, but there is no promises. He may be the number one hero, but when it comes to Parliament and also the Diet, they may not listen to that as the number one hero. But then Izuku saying, that's all I could ask for. You don't have to, or if you can't, I understand. With that, Soon, Izuku gets back into training. Within, All Might wondering, Bleach Japan. You know, sometimes good intentions are always paid with that of blood, after all. Just by the way that these men and women of Bleach Japan have been acting, it's possible they're causing the blood, or maybe being used in some way or another. If I had to say, if that man was still around, I could see him using Bleach Japan for his own means to an end. While continuing training, that's when All Might began to find out about certain things in his own little investigation while training Izuku. And let's just say it's not pretty. While the Tojo had been struggling, the Oni Alliance, on the other hand, had been growing under the leadership of Arakawa, the same man who defected from that of the Tojo clan. Turns out behind the scenes, while many civilians, politicians, and even pro-heroes don't even know this, the Bleach Japan is actually spearheaded and being helped by that of the Oni Alliance, where they basically say that they want to get rid of Yakuza and villains and also that of illegal businesses. They're allowing that of very villains themselves to basically help them. Using evil to get rid of evil doesn't make anything right. With All Might, he couldn't accept this and wanted to try and use his influence to help out. However, the damage was already done. Finding out that the HPSC and also that of, the Prime Minister have been blackmailed by that of Aoki due to finding that of certain criminal organizations working together and that of Yokohama. These criminal organizations were being supported by that of the former governor of Tokyo, actually, who's planning to go back into that of office, a counterfeiting job. However, it turns out this counterfeiting job has been helping out that of the economy of Japan, but even so, it's still basically illegal, which means without any more information or, evidence needed, there's no way in hell to stop this. Unless of a few people that are actually involved in this chaos as well. For the shortcoming of weeks, things have been going crazy in that of Yokohama, where Bleach Japan is mainly been taken care of and have been operating, while the small majorities have been in that of places like Masafu and, Kamurocho. Rumors say that a few civilians and that of vigilantes have been acting, causing a bit of pros, a little bit of headaches, and police also problems too. One of them say that these vigilantes is basically a former Yakuza. When Izuku heard this, he couldn't help but be completely and utterly shocked, wondering why a Yakuza would be helping out. Needing more information, after finishing his training at that of Dagobah, he decides to instead of heading back straight home, he heads straight for that of Kamurocho. Where there, he tries to gather some information, given that Izuku is already quite well known within Kamurocho, mainly those who already knew that of Kiryu after all. So they're all willing to help out and welcoming to that of Izuku, of course. However, a few Yakuza, on the other hand, who didn't even know anything about that of Kiryu or barely knows about that of the fourth chairman or only heard about it from stories, don't really give a shit about that of Izuku. So, of course, Izuku has to at least show them a little bit of a lesson on why you don't screw with that of the son of the Dragon of Dojima. Going from street to street, beating up that of lesser Tojo clan members who show no respect, he soon basically runs into that of a few Tojo members who actually do know Izuku. But then, saying, huh? Kiryu, a guy with that of a mustache and that of slick back gelled hair, wearing that of a black suit, and another guy with that of spiky black hair, wearing that of a black suit with that of a blue blazer and the blue blazer under it, saying, sorry you two, I actually wanted to ask some rumors around, and a few Yakuza members haven't really shown me any respect, so saying, yeah, those are a few remnants from that of families that have been being dismantled. due to the Tojo losing a lot of power thanks to the Omi and Bleach Japan. Within, the guy without the spiky black hair saying, hey, Aniki, you sure you should be telling? Saying, hey, it's cool. This kid is the son of the Tojo's former fourth chairman. If the kid's anything like his old man, he's wondering about what's happening to us, to be honest. And if anything, I think we can trust him. But then he's saying, as much as I want to live up to Dad's expectations, there's no way in hell I'm able to. Believe me. But then saying, you're being too modest for yourself, kid. But to be honest, what we do know is that the Omi and Bleach Japan, alongside a few pros, have been ruining our lives. Not to mention, it has to do with that new governor in that of Tokyo. It's supposed to be some big meeting in that of Ujincho, where the HQ of the Omi is located, back in that of Kyoto. A meeting in Kyoto? Literally the territory of the Oni Alliance. Why there? Saying, who knows? Rumors say that the Tojo may be folding into that of the Omi, given how weak we are. And we used to be the strongest in all of Japan. Damn, we've been really screwed. We've been basically screwed over so much. But then seeing the frustration, the pain in their voices, but then realizing, don't worry, Tojo's been through hell and back. They'll bounce back for this. You guys always do. But then the man kept saying, if you really are the son of the fourth chairman, why don't you take care of this shit yourself? But then he's saying, But then the other Yakuza say, hey, show some respect, damn it, saying, why the hell should I? I mean, you said this is the kid of the former fourth chairman, the Dragon of Dojima. He's just a goddamn kid. And the last time I checked, it was the fourth chairman that always saved our asses. And now that man is dead. We're all on our own now. Look, kid, I'm only gonna tell you this once. Stay out of Yakuza business. You're not a pro and you're not a hero. So stop acting like it. But then the guy couldn't help but walk off. Then saying, sorry about that, Kiryu. No, it's fine. Honestly, he has a right. I'm not my dad. I've never been. Even though I try to live up to the guy, I just can't. As he clenches his fist, saying, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna try. Thanks for the information. I really appreciate it. Saying, don't mention it, kid. You better get going. Then saying, yeah, take care. That, Izuku finally got the information he needed. However, given that he's been fighting almost all night while also training at that of Dagobah Beach again, his body is basically completely and utterly sore right now. Not to mention, he has to take a long train ride back to Masafu. And knowing his mom, she's gonna worry. But luckily, tomorrow is the first day of summer. So that means he'll have that at the apartment all to himself while his mom heads to that of Okinawa to head to Morning Glory. In the next 2 weeks, he plans on heading to Morning Glory himself as well, to use that time, as that was the only time and only week that he gets off of while training. Now finding out that there's a meeting between that of the Omi and the Tojo clan and that of Oni Alliance territory, he's gonna have to try and find a ride all the way to get to Kyoto, with then thinking to himself, well, there are a few people I know that can help me out. I just need to know if they're willing to also appreciate it. The very next day, Izuku is currently on that of a train with that of somebody else. With him, couldn't help but feel a little bit embarrassed, shy, and somewhat nervous, given the person that's sitting right next to him. And that of Cat within saying, sorry to ask you for this favor, Miss Useji Ayama. Saying, call me Rumi, damn it. I can't believe that I have to deal with this with you right now. But then saying, hey, honestly, you were offering me to basically go on your back and you would run me all the way to Kyoto. But then saying, hey, it's the best way to get some training in. So I don't see the problem with that. But then he's saying, seriously. As looking at the person who named Sujiyama, or as we all know her as, the rabbit hero Mirko, Rumi of Seiji. And some of you may be wondering, how does Izuku Midoriya or Izuku Kiryu know that of the current number 7th pro in Japan? Well, that's simple. Mirko was a former disciple of Taiga Saejima during her younger years, and during a certain incident where the police and a few pros were being corrupt, Mirko, or Rumi back then, was basically training to go into that of underground fighting after all. But back then, she didn't think much about that of her rabbit quirk until she finally realized that she gives her that of the agility and speed of a rabbit. And most of her power comes to that of her legs after all. But she didn't know how to channel that power back then. The best way, until she found somebody that actually could train her how to fight, because he was training other people as well, that being Taiga Saejima. At first, he was mainly training a few guys here and there who just wanted to gain some muscle power and also wanted to impress some girls. But Rumi, on the other hand, wanted to fight. She wanted to become a pro one day, but to do that, she needed skills and strength and battle and experience on what it means to be a fighter. First, Saejima was hesitant because, again, it's not that he didn't want to train her. If anything, he appreciated her drive, but he didn't want to be the kind of guy to hurt women, as that's literally one of Saejima's number one rules, to never hurt a woman. Even in this day and age, it seems sexist, but to him, it's just the way of his way of life after all. If he hurt a woman, that makes him basically beneath even that of villains themselves in his eyes. But he caved in and soon trained her. Since then, Rumi Seiji went from that of the Tiger Bunny, former underground fighter, to vigilante, to now rabbit hero Mirko. As for how she met Izuku, it happened out that of a few years ago. Saejima basically decided to help Izuku train himself in that of channeling his heat better through his body to give him more devastating and more powerful punches, even without needing the use of Saejima's quirk, which is called tense. The more he tenses his arm, the more destructive and powerful punches he can basically deal. If he tenses his arm for almost that of 10 minutes straight, he can basically send a punch so powerful it can level a 5-story building. Add that with his heat, well, he can basically do it to that of an entire city block. With his heat also acting as that of armor too, to allow him to take as many punches and basically slashes and even hits from that of other people's quirks, making him a near indestructible juggernaut. Hell, the only person that was able to, beat him even without through that of his heat alone is that of Kiryu Kazuma himself. And when seeing this, Rumi basically decided to test Izuku. Didn't even think much of him at much. However, when they first fought, Izuku was able to hold his own against that of before she was that of the number 7th hero. She was basically she was the number 10 at that time. With that, as Izuku, that was basically 12 at the time, and she was 22. So to be honest, she basically was being held back by that of a 12-year-old. Sure, she was holding back, and she barely even used that of her heat at all. But even so, she was still shocked and surprised that a quirkless kid like him was able to hold her own against that of a top-ranking pro. Since then, she's basically swung by around Izuku a few times, fought him, hanged out, but mainly in that of secret. Not as Mirko, but just as Rumi. So currently right now, Rumi is basically helping Izuku to that of Kyoto, mainly because he barely has enough money to go to Kyoto himself. Then saying, but still, I really appreciate it, Usajiyama, saying, I told you to call me Rumi, dumbass. But still, what is this about the whole Tojo clan basically most likely being destroyed by the Omi and also Bleach Japan? With then saying, like I told you, there's a plot that's most likely destroying the Tojo clan alongside that of many other good people because of Bleach Japan and Omi. I hear there's a meeting coming up in the next couple of days, so I plan on staying in Kyoto for at least a good while. But first, I need to sneak into that of the Oni Alliance HQ and wonder about what this meeting is. But then she couldn't help but roll her eyes saying, I could have done this myself. I'm a pro. Saying, yeah, true, but you forget. Unlike that of normal villains where you're able to beat the living shit out of them as you see fit, Rumi, Yakuza have to have that of several steps, and you need to basically be shown the proof and reasoning on why they need to be arrested. Given that, how much Yakuza has helped out keeping the peace in certain communities after all. Seriously, you were trained by a Yakuza. You should know this. But then she's saying, yeah, whatever. She couldn't help but blush at being lectured by that of a 14-year-old of all things. But then she's saying, still, if Master would have asked me for help, he would have, and I would have done it even with the cost of me losing my hero license and my position as the number 7 pro. But then, Izuku's saying, and that's the very reason on why Uncle Saejima didn't ask you. He's not going to risk you getting involved in that of this problem, if it does have to involve the Tojo. After hearing that, she mentally saying, yep, that sounds like the old bastard for sure. Too good-hearted for his own damn good. A few hours later, they finally arrive at Kyoto. But then she's saying, seriously, are you sure that I should just only stay here for this? Saying, well, you are a pro, so you're free to and you are one of the few pros who don't have an agency, and you wander Japan all you wish and want. So I'm pretty sure you can get a hotel for the time being for us. Saying, yeah, whatever. I'll give you the information and also but for the meantime, if you do see Sensei, give him a good kick to the head for me, for not inviting me as well. With that, she soon walks off. But then Izuku couldn't help but laugh, saying, she never changes. After smiling to himself, he soon looks around, trying to find that of the Oni Alliance HQ, and given that the place is pretty damn large, it's not hard to find. Arriving at that of the Oni Alliance HQ, which is basically a massive Japanese mansion. However, it's a lot more, where the Tojo clan's HQ is more traditional. This place is a lot more, fancy. A mix of Japanese and also modern technology fused together. But then he's saying, I kind of prefer the Tojo building more than this. With that, he soon looks around, trying to keep himself secret while using his heat to suppress his presence at the same time. Within, hearing that, a few people basically are catering companies, saying that they plan on doing a party with that of the meeting coming in the next couple of days. Wondering about this meeting, he tries sneaking in, which he ends up doing by knocking out a few guards here and there, sneaking around them, and reaching and almost close to that of the Oni Alliance chairman office. However, when he's there, he could help but hear a lot of shuffling, ruffling, and even a familiar cackle, as it being his Uncle Manjima, saying, Uncle Manjima? Running to that of the noise, that's when a few Omi guards notice Izuku saying, what the hell? Who are you, kid? Saying, shit. With that, he uses his heat, blitzes towards them, and do that of a devastating, heavy, straight elbow to that of the guy's head, knocking him into the wall, cratering it for a bit. But then another Omi guard realizing, what the hell? Before then, Izuku jumps up into the air and does a powerful axe kick on the guy's head, knocking him to the ground, knocking him out as well. But then, getting closer and closer while basically blitzing past that of Omi guards pretty quickly. Before then, he feels something shifting in the air, like something changed for a second. But then realizing, what the hell? What the hell just happened? Before then, as he tries to get closer and closer, that's when the feeling finally dissipates. Within realizing, what the hell was that? Shaking it off, he soon heads into that of Seeing that everything is a lot more quiet, he soon wonders what's happening. Before then, opening the door and then noticing that of several people alongside of several familiar individuals as well, while some not so much. Looking down at that of Izuku, as Majima saying, "Izu-chan, what are you doing here?" But then Saejima can say, "Izuku." Before then noticing that of a man on the top of that of the stairs, "Little Izuku, what are you doing here?" Noticing that voice saying, "Uncle Daigo?" Before noticing the other man, realizing, "Wait, you're Arakawa." Before then, a voice spoke up saying, "Hey, who the heck are you, kid?" Then, noticing a man wearing that of a red suit, also having that of a goatee and beard, with him having one crazy ass, spiked fro. Within, realizing, "Me? Who are you?" But then, Daigo saying, "This is gonna be quite something else. Izuku, I'm guessing you found out about some things, and you needed some clarification about them." Within, Izuku walking past that of the man in the group behind him, the group in front of him saying, "Yeah, I want to know what the hell is going on with the Tojo, and why, and Omi. Are you guys trying to have some kind of alliance alongside that of possibly phasing the Tojo in because of how much power you guys have lost over Japan? If that's the case, then the man right beside that of Daigo, a somewhat older man, with that of a quite tired but also still somewhat serious look to him, as this being Arakawa. Looking at that of the green net saying, "You're Izuku Kiryu, are you not, young man?" Daigo, alongside that of the others, have spoken quite a bit about you, young man. To think that you were able to sneak into that of the Oni Alliance, and you're only that of a young boy. You have quite a bit of potential. Well, I've been trained by the best. But then looking at that of Saejima, Majima, and even Daigo, before then shaking his head saying, "But that's not the point. You're Arakawa, the current acting captain of the Omi. You also betrayed the Tojo. Why the hell is that?" But then the guy in the red suit saying, "Well, hold on there, kid. Arakawa-san would never." But then raising his hand once again towards that of the man red saying, "Ichi, please. The young man has a right to say, especially given who his father was." But then the man known as Ichi saying, "Wait, his father?" But then a Chinese guy with that of glasses, short black hair, wearing that of a leather black jacket, a wild leopard print shirt, that of long shorts, and also that of high top sneakers, walks over to that of the guy known as Ichi, as he's named Zhao, saying, "You may not know this, Ikaska, but that kid right there is the son of the Tojo clan's 4th chairman." Within, a Korean man wearing that of a trench coat and slick back white hair, this being Ju Wee Han, or basically a body clone given that the original died several years back, saying, "Indeed, that is Izuku Midoriya, or Izuku Kiryu, son of Kazuma Kiryu, the ex-former chairman of the Tojo clan. Komiju has basically made sure to keep an eye on that of the 4th chairman's closest associates. And seeing those 3 up there, it seems things are starting to come ahead. But I've never imagined that the son of the Dragon of Dojima would get involved in this as well." As the guy known as Ichiban Kasuga looks at Izuku in a somewhat different but also worrying light. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, how'd you guys like this part? Honestly, this was mainly a part for me to set up things from that of Yakuza 7 or Yakuza Like a Dragon. Not to mention introducing several characters that were only introduced in that of the, prologue after all. Plus, the events of Yakuza 7 has now gotten involved with that of the, 1 year training arc that Izuku would go through in episode 3 to 4 after all. So, and you may be wondering, will Izuku basically be part of Ichiban's party? And the answer is no. I'm just saying this outright, no. Izuku will not be part of Ichiban's party. And here are the reasons why. First reason, he's a 14-year-old kid. Almost 15 after the summer ends. 2, he's still focusing on that of his training for UA after all, so he's not going to be getting involved too much with that of the main plots of Yakuza 7. And 3, you really expect that of Majima, Saejima, and Daigo to get Izuku involved in this shit? Seriously, they would do anything to make sure that Izuku doesn't get himself hurt. And as a way to honor Kiryu after all. They only trained him to protect him after all. Nothing more and nothing less. And they cared too much to have him get hurt. Not to mention the introduction to that of Mirko for that of Izuku after all. If you guys remember, back in that of a couple weeks ago, I made a poll on who should I ship Izuku with. It was either Ochako, Tsuyu, or Rumi, or the last one, all 3. And you guys said all 3, so yeah, that's how Rumi ends up being paired up with Izuku. Having a girl that constantly fights, honestly, Mirko would fit the Yakuza series like a glove, so it only made sense for her. As for Ochako and Tsuyu, just wait and time goes on and you'll know. So, with all that said, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification, keep to date my videos uploaded to the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, gaming channel, side channel, other channel, Patreon, and Cash App. All link in description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, hope you all take care. Do your thing, Shiro.
Hi everyone, this is White Fox. If you liked Leon's video, click the video on the left to see the most recent one. And if you want to see more of this, click the subscribe button and notification bell, and check out his playlists. If you still haven't subscribed, do so in the center. With that said, I hope to see you again on my love's channel. Bye!